Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to the Hayseed night, where we are delving further into Sep's diary. I was having a boringly uneventful matutine walk with Elbar, watching the city at my feet as he argued with himself about some pointless troop play, when who do I spy in the distance but Adder himself, dutifully sweeping the dust in front of the temple of Hirub. He looked adorable with that little broom between his wondrous hands. Naturally, I could not let this chance go. I gave Elbar some flimsy excuse to sneak away and ran to observe my favorite toy in his natural habitat, before reminding him of his duties to me. That was the plan, at least. Perhaps it was the sun glistening on his body in a way that I was not accustomed to, or more likely the terrible dawn-soon heat demanding that I stayed in the shade. It could as well have been that I was far more anxious about trying his memory than I had at first realized. There are so many causes I could blame, but none of them would erase the truth. I completely froze in the spot, diary. I couldn't even walk up to Adder to tease him like I usually would. As my terrible luck would have it, Elbar was so kind as to mock Adder for me, all the way from the royal pathway. And I am fully convinced that that idiot would have run up a pillar and lost his head today if I hadn't been around to stop him from acting a fool. Does he seriously not realize how close he was to dying for real? I don't care how high the field he farmed was back in Janzure. He's a slum dweller now. His neck is mere dirt to be stepped on by the likes of Elbar. I don't know why I'm letting this get me so flustered. I thought his being reckless was precisely what drew me to him in the first place. Ral may have had a point after all. I truly am letting myself get too carried away by his nonsense. Oh yeah, we've been here before. And I think this is the one we couldn't pursue further before. Does he have a death wish?
You sure you're all right?
Oh, it took us here. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so that doesn't go anywhere. It wasn't because of missing memories that we couldn't pursue that before. That just doesn't go anywhere. What about the other one? If only you knew. Oh, Elbar. Yeah, this just doesn't go anywhere, this whole thing. The bargain. I consider myself a fair and objective person, diary. I really do. I try to acknowledge the gap between my skills and those of others, and be as benign towards them as I can be. But I guess my patience can only go so far. No, I don't have any good analogies for what Adder did today, and I normally wouldn't have been so bothered. I really did try not to be angry at him, but my grudge only grew deeper with every second I spent trying to forgive him, as I realized that his lack of respect towards me ran much deeper than the shamelessness that he showed today. I wanted to be fair to myself for once and kick him out of my life, But that dumbass managed to charm me again with his cute smiles and his tall tales. And what am I indeed if not an idiot enamored with the very concept of hubris? I have a feeling that I will not have the strength to enforce my end of the bargain if the time comes. Was the "I'm too soft on him" a thing that just didn't go anywhere, or were we missing memories?
And then
Let's
Illigrad
check.
grabbed me by the neck and I heard this loud friggin' crack.
Yeah, this just doesn't go anywhere. Okay, let's see the other one. Did we have anything missing anywhere in the Ral doesn't need to know?
You sure you're all right?
No, this doesn't go anywhere either. Alright, well, Elbar's passion. I realized today, dear diary, that the years I stopped sharing stories with you spared you from learning the most scabrous details about my love life. Given the topics we've caught up on, I assume you must have already figured out an essential fact about me. I like deer, in numbers and on their knees, preferably. Needless to say, the feeling is mutual. It's only natural, isn't it? They can never get used to my presence. I'm always literally as overwhelming as the first time they saw me. The eternal novelty. The point I'm trying to make, boasting aside, is very simple. I know men very well. I know the coy type that thinks of laying with someone as something special. I know the anxious type with stage fright. I know the ones that think they have to feign good manners in order to get what they want. I know that Elbar isn't any of these. Oh, Elbar, my poor confused horn-eater. Were our relationship a different one, I would have been eager to explain to him that it's not precisely horns he seeks in a person. Alas, I feel no guilt in taking advantage of a stupid noble deer that could have my head with a word, and yet has so kindly offered to gild the road out of his cage, out of this cage that I call home. I'm so very glad I decided to keep Adder around after all. I wouldn't know where to put all the gifts I'm going to coerce out of Elbar otherwise. P.S. Eat your hat out, Geoff. You can't steal this one. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere either, but it was nice to read the diary entry relating to this one. Anyway. Deserve. I'm going to say it outright and just clear the air, for fear I will explode otherwise. I don't know how he does it, but I am physically unable to say no to Addersind, son of Gerfaz. I know, but you don't understand. He looks so positively miserable whenever I try to keep my distance. I just want to shove a loaf of sweet bread into his snout every time I see his gaunt little fawn face, and make him chubbier than he was. I realize how I'm acting, and yet I do not know how to stop. But that's not the worst part. Today, he charmed me into having dinner with him. The Joseph, accepting a street shrub's invitation. the merchant would have had my horns for it. This will all bite me in the face one day, diary. I will live to regret it. I know that too. But what's one mistake more in the pile?
And then Illigrad grabbed me by the neck, and I heard this loud friggin' crack. And suddenly, I could do this.
Yeah, okay, this isn't going anywhere either. But as before, it was nice to read the diary entry relating to it. Fawns. Moons after our reunion, Adder somehow still manages to surprise me with his ignorance. His latest gem of boarness, deer and gazelles, having fawns. I have to admit that in retrospective, it may be a logical conclusion for a row. And more so a gaze-reading one, but still I couldn't help but laugh at the idea. I would have been a mother years ago if any such thing was still possible. As it's usually the case, Adder got so ridiculously flustered at the realization of his own naivety that he resorted to accusing me of being puerile. I graciously reassured him that he's the only fawn around, to which he had nothing better to say than to claim to be older than me. This is, as you and I well know, diary, a filthy lie. He barely looks like he had his antlers turned to bone yesterday. Is he that desperate to get the upper hand on me in some way? The nerve of the stag. P.S. What if I called him Sir Addersind as a joke? I bet that crook would like that. P.P.S. No, I can see the irony myself. Thank you.
Hey, Sip, so, I've been thinking real hard about that thing I said about being responsible and whatnot, so I think I'm ready to take this step.
And this doesn't lead anywhere either. It's the proposal thing. Yeah. Adventure. Years ago, in the wake of my rite of age, I declared that I would be my own person, that I would wait for no one to rescue me from the torture that my life is, that only I had the power to set my path straight. Now that my horns are too heavy and my butt is too big to fit through the vents I used to escape through when I was a child, I would like to formally apologize and take it all back. I still want to run, diary. I dream of quitting everything and wandering all over my homeland whenever I'm restless before a show. I dream of the meaningful lives that all the other people in the world must be having away from my dessert trays and my fancy dresses. But it seems like the only one who'll take me away anymore is my good friend, the wine.
So I tell him halfway from nowhere, okay, gotcha, but in what direction? And the caravan driver looks me up and down with a weird face, shakes his head, and says, "That's the name of the place, you plunker. Halfway from nowhere."
Was there something we couldn't access up here in the just take me away thing? I can't remember. Let's see.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Am I allowed to want? Yes, we have missing memories here. Okay. What about the other one?
So I tell him halfway from nowhere, okay,
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Is it all just an act? Come on. I'll see you soon. And this doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Let's see the
So I tell him halfway from nowhere.
I
Okay,
just want
gotcha.
to
But in what
forget.
direction? And the caravan driver
I thought you'd be hiding something, but no matter how much I try to drive
Do
you
you
away,
really?
you.
And this is the one where they're at the beach after drinking wine. My night. Oh, still missing memories. Okay. What about the other one?
So I tell him halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha. But in
Just
what
want to
direction?
forget.
And the caravan driver
I thought you'd be hiding something, but
Don't
no
leave
matter
me.
how much I try to drive you away,
Sup? Sup, sweetie? Are you in there?
I am
Could you
just
open the
see.
window for me?
Oh, this is this one where she confronts the merchant, and the merchant doesn't want to teach her. And that doesn't go anywhere. Okay, the proposal then. Dear diary, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Might be a little too tipsy right now to write properly. Why Elbar have to... have to go? Be nice, gods. I didn't want to choose anything. I don't want to think anymore.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
So here we had missing memories. Yeah, and the other one didn't go anywhere, right? Is it all just an act one? It went to the see you soon one that didn't go anywhere. So next, a very long night. I don't even know where to begin with this, but if I don't write something, I'm going to lose my mind. I need to think things through. Maybe the events of last night will seem less terrible than they were somehow. All I can do is hope. Hope that this was not one of those choices. Hope that I didn't make it worse. I've shown all my cards, pleaded like I'd never had to before in my life, and now Raoul... I have no idea what she's going to do, but I've already done everything I could, said more than I ever meant to say, and so I hope that he managed to see beyond my words. For once, it's all up to him now. P.S. I'm calmer now, and you know what? Adder is nothing if not a survivor. He'll be fine. Oh, there are multiple parts of this memory. Well, let's see this part of the memory first, and then we'll read the other pages.
You sure you're all right?
Oh, this is this. And this doesn't go anywhere. Okay, let's read more. People were only supposed to be as good as they were useful to me, diary. That's what I believed for so long. That gentleness was conditional, transactional. That one had to be worthy of affection or cast away for failing to obtain it. So why is it that when I'm with him and he says that I'm good and I'm nice, despite all evidence to the contrary, and tells me all those horribly embarrassing things, I care not to write down with... I care not to write down with that huge smile of his. I cannot bring myself to believe he's lying. I think that I see myself in him, diary, a horrifying cautionary tale of what could have been if I had taken a single wrong choice. What would still be. Okay, so this is where they're at the beach. My knight. And this doesn't go anywhere either. No, it would go somewhere, but we don't have the memory. Okay. Good to know. Let's read the last page as well. Diary. I think Adder he's always been too nice for me. I know that. He's all smiles and soft kisses and compliments, and I'm none of that. I deserve none of that. I realize it. I knew that I could only ever drag him down with me. I didn't want that for him. But I still tripped again and lowered my guard too much. Far too much this time. I don't know how much I told him while I was drunk, and I'm honestly afraid of ever finding out, but that's besides the point right now. I let myself get wrapped up in the warmth of his embrace and the naivety of his promises, and now he's paying for it.
I thought you'd be hiding something, but no matter how much I try to drive you away, you keep proving me wrong. Just like that. Why won't you leave me alone, you bore? You are not allowed to be this nice to me.
So we've seen this before. This is where they go to the beach. Right? Do you really? Yeah, and this is what it continues to, and then we can't get forward here because we're missing memories. Yep. Okay. So let's see if we have anything else here.
I thought you'd be hiding something, but no matter how much I try to drive you away, you keep proving me wrong.
Oh, this is right. So this is just this and there's nothing else here. What about the other one? I feel like there's probably nothing else there either. In the
I
don't
thought
leave
you'd be
me.
hiding something, but no matter how...
Yeah, this is this.
Sup, sweetie, are you in
thing.
there? Could you open the window for me?
I am Joseph. And then this is the merchant thing. And this doesn't go anywhere. Okay. We still have some question marks here. Hopefully the curse will open up something new. Dear Diary, how are you? It's been a while. I'm sorry for not writing anything these past few weeks. To be honest, I wouldn't be able to tell you about them if I tried now. Wine and hurt numbed them into a shameful blur, and I like them to stay that way. Ral informed me a few days ago that she's done waiting and has already started preparing my next show. That's the only point of reference for the passage of time I've had lately. Today, she opened the window in my room and had some servants clean up the place while she dragged me out to take my first bath in longer than I care to admit. On the way there, she brought a letter from Hayseed expressing his regret for having been too occupied with his job to have a chance to visit me this dawn soon, for the 3rd year in a row. Not that any of it mattered, of course. I put the letter away once I finished reading, closed my eyes and just let all the air out in a sigh as I sank into the deep end of the pool. I didn't have to share the bath with anyone today, and that's a small blessing I thanked with all my heart. Every little thought fled out of my mind as I sank all the way to the bottom. And there I sat, as I had many times before in the past, waiting for something. For the lack of air to urge me to the surface, desperate to breathe, for sudden panic to send me bolting out of the pool, afraid of what awaited beyond those last few seconds. But none of that happened. I looked up, confused, wondering if I had somehow dreamt my way out of the bath. But what I found was that the water waiting above me, completely still, so still that it seemed an amazingly lifelike painting. "What?" I said, and I knew I could not have said it because not even the Joseph can speak underwater. I sprung to my feet, swimming in air, and as I stepped out of the pool, I saw it. The castle in the background, Adder standing next to me. "I don't mind sinking as long as you float." Those were his words. That was his promise, his declaration of intentions to me weeks ago. A responsibility I gladly decided to foist on him, like falling to the darkest depths was my right and my natural state of being. A sentence he would have to share for daring to offer me a helping hand, to drag me out of my misery. I sank back into the sea and out of the pool, gasping for air, my lungs burning like never before as they tried to expel all the water that had leaked into them. I could hear the echo of my desperate coughs all over the room for what felt like hours. And yet, no matter how much I cried in my little corner, I was still alone. No one knew how close I was to succeeding this time. No one could have saved me. I had to float on my own. And then this is this. So, how do we gain access to these then? I mean, I think all of these memories have kind of taken us. I mean, when we were up here in some of these, we had paths that we couldn't like proceed down because of missing memories. But I think as the missing memories became available, we have revisited all of those paths in these later memories, right? So, there's gotta be something that opens up these ones. Have I missed a path somewhere? I mean, that is very likely because some of these paths have so many branches to them that I may have missed like a branch or two somewhere. So, Sep's thoughts. I just wanted to be left alone. I guess I can't click on these. Revisit my greatest fault. Oh, do these point to where we can open up new paths? Revisit my greatest fault. I just wanted to be left alone. Do we revisit the alone thought then?
Oh, honey, come on. You can't stay mad at your poor brother forever.
Leave me alone. This is new. Okay, so it's those thoughts that give us clues as to where we can open up new paths. Nice. Seb stared at the window with such intensity that it seemed she wanted to set it on fire. It was dark out, darker than ever, even in a long dawn-soon night. She had been waiting for someone who wasn't allowed to visit. Oh, is it Adder? A brief gust of wind pushed the window in the closed balcony against its frame, letting her down once more. Adder was supposed to arrive 2 hours prior, and he had never once been late in the whole season. Not even Miss Rochelle's threats could have made him stay away. Seb was sure of it.
What if something's happened to him?
Seb's gaze was drawn to the window once more. She had seen Adder slip through it dozens of times now, but she had never tried any such feat herself. Even though she lived on a first floor, the ground below looked like an abyss for someone afraid of falling. And yet, what other options did she have? Walking out of the door and pretending that last night's conversation had never happened? Mustering courage from depths of her heart she had kept locked away for years, Seb headed to the balcony and glared at the woodwork covering it. She shoved the window open and took a deep breath, using all of her willpower to stick one tentative leg out of the balcony.
I must strongly discourage you from resting your hooves on the frame, my son. The lattice may not be able to withstand your weight, and I am standing underneath.
Oops. The scare almost made Seb tip forward and fall towards the street. She quickly recoiled and ended up in the balcony instead.
Who's there?
My name is Hojab Amet, descendant of Hojab the Great Cartographer, steward of the Asgadath household in Heirloom. It is an honor to be at your service, Jasif.
The flippancy of his voice wasn't lost on Seb.
Did Sir Asgadath send you?
Affirmative, my son. I have been charged with the peculiar task of protecting your room, as Sir Asgadath was led to believe that the Jasif would feel safer with a fellow Barhan civilian watching over her window than any of his trained deer guard.
Well, you are doing fantastic. Congratulations on your promotion. Go ahead and watch my window all you want. I have places to go.
I'm afraid I cannot let you do that, my son. The orders were, paraphrasing, make sure no one comes in. And I believe it's strongly implied I should make sure that you remain inside your room while I carry out the task.
Are you open to discussing semantics?
Negative, my son. Sir Askadath discourages the pursuit of intellectual matters for the duration of my shift.
How about a little break then? You could come up here and relax a little if you'd like. Share some wine, perhaps?
Negative, my son. I am not allowed to consume alcohol for the duration of my shift.
Tea, then?
Only if it's hemlock, my son.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were a eunuch.
I am under no obligation to prove the size of my virility just to entertain your provocations, my son.
Are you always like this?
Affirmative, my...
Ugh!
Seb slammed the window shut. She would have to walk out of the front door with a high head and quiet steps.
Where do you think you're going, honey?
I'm going to take a stroll.
Oh, no. I'm afraid that long walks under the moonlight are no longer part of the menu for you. You're far too precious to be wandering around like a ghost now, future Jasif of Askadath. That's why I decided to put you in a casual encounters diet so you can fit in the wedding dress.
Jasif of Askadath? Then Seb and Elbar!
Focus, Lynn.
I'm not going to see anyone. I just need to leave for 5 minutes.
Then I'm sure you can bring the escort Sir Askadath has dispensed for your security. I hear he's a great conversationalist.
You knew about... Wait. You told Elbar, didn't you? You filthy liar. You promised you wouldn't tell on us.
I said I wouldn't tell Talid. I wouldn't want to see that wretched little fawn drawn and quartered because of your strange taste in men. But I wouldn't dare extend the same treatment to Elbar. He is your patron, our patron, and your fiancé. Oh, don't make that face, sweetheart. I only told him that some miserable buck tried to sneak into your room a couple of nights ago. Nothing else. He'll be fine. And so will you. You can find yourself a new friend as soon as you finish paying your dowry.
Of all the miserable things that you've done, this is...
Haven't I made myself clear? You are grounded, Sep. Go to your room.
Seb's mouth opened and closed as Miss Rochelle turned around, but no sound came out. The door was closed and locked from the outside, but even if it hadn't, Seb had no will to fight back. A dozen cushions heard her scream of frustration and impotence as she realized, for the first time after all these years, that she didn't even own a key to her own room. The scream continued as she finally understood that she would soon be forced out of the only place she'd ever known as home, both her only haven and the origin of all her fears. Her voice broke into sobs as she realized the effect her absence would have. I'll run every time. Oh, that takes us here. Does the I'm keeping this one lead us anywhere new? Let's just take a look.
I'm so dead. I'm so dead.
It's not that stupid,
All right.
is it?
I lived a good life. Now,
Oh, this is where we're going. My knight. Something about what an actress wants. Oh! This is new. It's not often that one could find Seb pacing back and forth around her room. She was usually quite more laid back, meaning she'd only lift a finger if she absolutely had to once she was done dancing for the day. But tonight, she just couldn't stay still. There was someone waiting for her. It was her only chance. She absolutely had to meet him. She would sneak out no matter the cost. The back door that the servants used was right there. Just a few steps more and she could.
Trying to sneak out again, dear?
Seb balled her hand into a fist, just inches away from the door handle. She breathed deeply and turned around.
I'm not trying to sneak out. I'm leaving this place.
Well, that's dramatic. Are you leaving for a night? A year? Unlike you, I can't know what people are thinking if they don't tell me, dear.
You really want to know what I'm thinking? You want me to tell you how much I hate you one last time? Fine. This is the last time you see me bowing my head before you, Ral. I won't let you decide ever again what my own good is. I won't let you steal the things I love from me anymore. Can't you see that you've made my life a living nightmare?
Yes, you look like the very image of suffering. Whatever have I done to be so cruel to you? Haven't I given you everything? Haven't I taught you everything I know?
You've taken everything from me. My culture, my skills, my name. You said that you would raise me to be the woman Mom wanted me to be. But all you ever did was keep me locked and complacent so you could use me as your pawn. But it's over. I'm done with your little games.
Seb turned back again towards the door, ready to open it. It was locked.
You really think I'm the heartless one here, Sep? Tell me, did you ever consider how I suffered when your mother died? I loved her. I knew her better than any of you could ever have. And yet I had to be the first to get over her death to protect you. We should have, could have been there for each other. But you pushed me away when I couldn't be Thar. You pushed me away when I couldn't be Geoff or Talid or Ilagrab. You push me every time I try to be there for you. And then you cry because you feel alone. But that's okay, isn't it? In the end, we're just two lonely women obsessed with being loved by those who look down on us. After all, we've both lived our lives putting someone on a pedestal. It makes sense.
Miss Rochelle's eternal grin vanished. The woman who taught Seb how to smile when everything was falling apart grimaced, but only for a moment.
Oh, look at me rambling like an old woman when you have other things to do. Can you do me one last favor before you leave, dear? I think I left the front door open, but I'm exhausted, and you know I look like a raisin without my beauty sleep. Go and lock it for me, will you?
Miss Rochelle deposited a brass rose-shaped key in Seb's hands. Then she turned her back on the gazelle and began walking towards the stairs that led to the first floor. Seb stared at the key for what felt like an eternity, unbelieving, disconcerted, skeptical.
I know you're not doing this out of kindness, Ral. You just hate seeing that you're losing, don't you? You want to watch me ruin my life and Adder's and be there to say, I told you, when I have to drag my tail back.
Dear, I've only asked you to lock the door. The rest is all up to you.
What am I doing?
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Revisit Seb's greatest fault. Am I allowed to want? Yeah, this is This takes us back here. And then...
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
It keeps going in circles. Is it all just an act? This doesn't go anywhere, right? It goes here. And then nowhere. Okay, Seb's greatest fault. Well, however, we do have a couple of new things here. A gilded cage. It's been a day since I tried to leave, and it's already one of the most disconcerting I've lived in recent years. I'd never seen Raoul seething like this, not since Mom passed. I asked her to let me out again this morning, and she said she wouldn't let me leave my room at all. That I clearly could not be trusted with my own choices. That she was wrong for thinking me an adult. But you know what, diary? I was always right in thinking her a cold-hearted beast. And yet, despite all the hurtful things she said, she's been sending all manner of gifts into my room. Fresh figs, sweet wine, new books, and charcoal and ink for my drawings. What are these? My wedding presents? Because I would love for nothing more than for her to choke on her lies and leave me alone. Early this morning I heard the lock click. Raoul made sure to be noisy about it so I'd know she'd unlocked the door. But she still wouldn't take her eyes off my room for 1 second. I don't care what sort of trap she's trying to set, but I won't fall for it. I have everything I need right here. The rest of the house may as well not exist. All I keep worrying about is how I could, no. I don't know what she'll do if Adder tries anything. But I'm sure he'll come up with something. He'll find his way back to me. He always does. I'll win the war and earn my happy ending. I just have to resist a little longer. Yesterday I finally finished nibbling away at a little stash I had saved from Elbar's last visit. What started with a slight feeling of peckishness that I could easily disregard had me waking up with a horrible stomach ache that I couldn't ignore anymore, just a few hours later in the middle of the night. I had to give in and eat some of the food Raoul brought today, and she'll see it and think that I gave in and I'm going to listen to her now. I feel really bad. P.S. No signs of Adder today either. What's the longest anyone's memory has lasted without news? Diary? P.P.S. Does he always feel like this when he's not around me? I'll make sure to raid the pantry before leaving. Elbar tried to visit today, but I've been refusing to see him. It doesn't matter either way. I know Raoul will tell him I'm sick. I'm sure she's convinced it's the truth, too. Days keep passing. She'd usually be poking me and pestering me all night to get ready for my next show by now, but she doesn't say a word when she brings my lunch. She doesn't lock the door when she leaves either. I don't know what she's trying anymore. I woke up early today to the sound of drums. A congregation of priests of Ahimai were offering blessings and recruiting souls for their cult like every first day. Then it dawned on me. I thought there must have been a mistake, but no. I rushed out of my room and asked the first girl I saw what day it was. She said it was first day. It's been a week already. It's been a whole week somehow. He's gone. Okay, we're here. So we did the I'll run every time thing, didn't we? You'll get yours. Right? There's nothing new here. So there was one new thing here with the I'm keeping this one, right?
I'm so dead. I'm so.
Yeah, this was new. This actually led us somewhere this time, right? It took us here.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Okay, and then these don't take us anywhere. Because this just takes us back to here.
You look distant today, babe. Is
Yeah.
something the matter?
Back to the diary. And back to the gilded cage. And let's take the other way. He'll serve me well.
Hey, Sip, so, I've been thinking real hard about that thing.
Oh, this doesn't go anywhere either. Okay. So... You'll get yours. We're back here.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Okay. So I guess we can't go anywhere here, right? This doesn't take us anywhere? Yeah. Break free. I should kind of end the episode though. Maybe let's continue from here next time. Revisit my greatest fault. What is her greatest fault? Her greatest fault. Well, I mean, hopefully the break free thing will open these up for us. I guess we could take a look before we end the episode. After an eternity trying to stay out of my mind, it's finally dark out. A moonless night, as unsettling as the rest of the day has been. No, Ral didn't say a single word about the show I missed this morning. She didn't even look me in the face when I was practically dragged back to her. I know she knows, and I have no doubt that she will try to stop me again. She will try. Everyone must be asleep or busy by now, so I have no more time to waste. Goodbye, diary. I hope we never have to speak again. Okay, so this is where she's going, and what am I doing?
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
Yeah, this doesn't take us anywhere new. So I'll have to try and figure out Seb's greatest fault. What would it be? Would it be that she thinks she deserves stuff when she maybe doesn't? Or, is wine her greatest fault? Or is Adder her greatest fault? Or is being Joseph her greatest fault? Or oh yeah, this doesn't go anywhere. Her greatest fault. Is being different her greatest fault?
We have more than enough money to keep another child. That's not the problem at hand.
Mom? Mom?
It's all my fault. Oh, this is new. Past Adder, sitting on the beach all alone as he watched the place. As soon as he saw this, Adder knew what the ensuing memory would be. He felt compelled to walk away, to pretend that he hadn't stumbled upon this. But there came Sep, awkwardly dragging her hooves through the sand as she made her way towards this past projection of himself.
Enjoying the view?
Adder jumped to his feet as Sep's face appeared on his monolateral field of vision.
Well, hello, does and stags. It's the magic scammer at last. What took you so long, ma'am? Now I was starting to worry I'd have to go back home unstabbed.
I'm not a stabber. Why would I bring a knife here?
Let's see. The prettiest gazelle I've ever seen in my life asking a half-made, one-eyed chump to meet her alone in the dark on a deserted beach? Either you brought a knife or you brought a fork, ma'am.
Precisely. If anyone's bound to carry a knife between us, that'd be you, slum dweller.
Ha! I knew you were lying through your teeth. If you knew me so well as you say you do, you'd know the chances of me carrying a shank are -0. I'm dead scared of pointy things.
Oh, I'm sorry. The list is so long that it's hard to keep track of your fears sometimes.
You call me a coward now? Well, yee-haw my melt and call me a biscuit. I can't believe this. I've come here to be robbed, not insulted, missy. This buck's headed home if you're gonna get all pissy.
Adder, wait. Don't leave. I'm at my wit's end here. Please, look at me. I know we haven't known each other long, but it was really fun. I've grown really fond of you. So, please, tell me that you know my face, my horns, my ears, my anything.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I couldn't tell a fir from a palm tree in this light. You mind if I step a little closer?
Sep nodded hesitantly. Adder got up slowly, dusted off his pants and let his hands fall on his hips. He pulled his head closer, his expression contorted into one of extreme concentration.
Now that you say it, you do look kind of familiar, yeah. What'd you say your name was again?
I'm Joseph, because I said Joseph, right? Who did I say I was?
And then he kissed her.
A queen don't need no introduction, you dumbass.
The slap Adder got wasn't at all undeserved.
You dissolute reprobate! You witless waste of Barhan blood! How long have you known?
Only since that other doe called out your name. When she yelled, "Yes, Seth!" I looked at her, and then I looked at you, and something in my mind went boom, and my brain just sort of knocked on my skull like, Adder, you dingus, that's your gal right there.
Of course. I hadn't taken previous third-party interactions into account. You met Nahira before with me specifically, in a very similar situation. We shared enough memories for your mind to find that extremely odd. A deja vu.
Bless you.
Don't you get it? The curse works so that you don't realize you know me unless you know that I exist. And what better way is there to prove my existence than having someone whose existence you acknowledge to find my person in a word?
You're gonna have to explain that to me at least 20 times, Sep.
Adder grabbed the gazelle by her waist and began spinning her around. They turned and turned until they ended up dizzy and laughing in the sand. The two kissed and whispered and said 1,000 meaningless things, and when the rush began wearing off, they watched the sea quietly.
Even after all that, I'm still not very sure of how you could remember anything before tonight. Most people just forget they met me entirely if they don't see me for a few days, even if we meet again. You, however, could recall everything after weeks. Have you spent a long time around ghosts or gods or, cursed people in general? Your eye seems used to seeing things that shouldn't be there.
I don't know, and I don't care. My eye's just happy to see the things that are here right now.
Your eye? Of course. We'll go with that.
Hey, don't get ugly now. I was worried sick. Thought something for real bad would have happened to you. Like maybe Miss Rochelle locked you up and I'd have to save you or you'd been sent away. But then I saw the guard and I thought, piece of cake. I'll just have to find a way to sneak in tomorrow. Next I knew, I'd been crying for days and I didn't even know who I was crying for. I tried looking in every corner of the city because I forgot the girl I was looking for. I missed you so much.
It's okay. I really, well, it doesn't matter. It's over now. We won't have to stay away from each other ever again.
Hold up. Don't tell me you went and ran away from home or something just to be with me.
It's not just that, of course. There's far too much happening right now in my life. Elbar has been pulling me to one side, Rel to the other, and I don't know. I felt like I was about to break, and I didn't think I could handle it anymore. Not without you by my side, at least.
So what do we do now? You want to come with me to the slums? Mr. Bart will twist my neck like a rag when he sees you, but I'm sure you two will hit it off great. Now, I can teach you how to avoid a knife fight, what fountains got clean water, the tastiest moss, and... You didn't think this through, did you?
You are precisely the last person in the world I wanted to hear that from. But no, I had a feeling that I would never have another chance to have you by my side if I didn't come here tonight. And I'm not very used to having feelings in general. It felt important. Fortunately for all of us, I seem to be frankly terrible at burning bridges.
Seb produced a rose-shaped key out of her shirt.
If I go back to my life before Ral forgets me, we won't be able to see each other again. The curse will run its course. You'll forget me once more, and I'll be forced to remember you no matter what.
I don't want to forget you ever again, and much less see you cry, because I'm not thick-skulled enough to snap out on my own. But it ain't like it's hopeless, right? That Yasif guy sort of managed to break the curse, and I'm sure he wasn't half as smart as you are. And you'll figure something out.
It's not like I don't have my own theories on how to break it. I mean, there is one deer who has been avoiding the curse for 2 decades. He keeps coming back no matter how much I tell him to go jump off a goddamned... Whatever. That's not relevant. Moving on. I think I know the reason why he's unable to forget me, but I don't think it's a good idea to replicate the experiment. You'd hate me for it.
Look at me, Sep. I don't know what an experiment is, but if I ain't begun hating you for all the ugly stuff you done to me, I won't begin anytime soon. I don't want to risk forgetting you ever again, okay? Whatever it is you gotta do, just... What the hell are you doing, Sep?
Taking precautions. Come now, don't just stand there. Take off your clothes too and get in the water with me. It should be safer like this.
I think you got that backwards, ma'am, but, if you miss me that much...
Seb's tail floated behind her like a fluffy bait specifically designed to lure Adder into the water. She walked towards the depths until the waves reached her shoulders, ensuring that they were far enough from both any onlookers on the shore and the merchant ships in the sea. The two stood awkwardly against each other, Gazelle and Buck naked. This much was far from a shocking development, but the water was pretty cold and exhibitionism wasn't precisely Adder's forte, so he felt like apologizing a few times and then digging a hole for himself. Seb wouldn't just let him curse his own luck, however. It was the Gazelle who bridged the gap between them, bringing Adder closer to her until the curve of her horns was touching his jaw and her forehead was resting on his chest. Adder surrounded her whole body with one hand, surprised by her uncharacteristic display of affection.
Do you love me, Adder? I mean, do you really love me? Can you love me even though I'm a gazelle?
Come on, Seb. What sort of question is that? Of course I love you. I'm going to say it as many times as you got to hear it. I love your horns, I love your tail, I love those stripes on your face and your friggin' dumb smile and all the things I shouldn't be saying, but you know how much I dig.
Then, what if I told you I'm not quite a gazelle? Would you still love me then?
Say what?
Answer! Would you love me if I was something else?
Yeah, I'd love you no matter what.
Get on your knees and swear it!
I swear it! I love you with my whole heart, and you don't know how much love fits inside this heart, ma'am! It's bigger than my brain, bigger than these hands even!
The moment after this declaration seemed eternal. Adder was blushing so hard that his cheeks looked like they were about to catch fire. Seb needed a moment to stop an outrageously undignifying tail wag before it started. After much hesitation, she carefully placed her wet hands on Adder's shoulders, her lip trembling as she did her best not to let the slightest trace of embarrassment show.
I trust you then.
She inhaled deeply, trying to put her thoughts in order like so many times before. A few moments passed. Her eyes began glowing an unnatural blue against the darkness. Adder had always thought that he'd been imagining things when he saw her eyes gleam, but he could see it clearly now. There really was a little flame flickering behind them. He stared intently, flummoxed by the peculiar sight, until Seb turned her face away sharply. The glow vanished as her chest heaved, the blue light replaced instead by a nearly glowing red flush across her cheeks.
Don't stare at them like that. It's hard enough as it is.
Adder didn't confirm nor deny this. He merely nodded and, knowing that there was no other way, he could look at her, closed his eye. Seb curled her fingers around his shoulders, making her way towards his chest. Her palms began feeling warm as they dried up. It was a warmth that spread through Adder's body, reaching deep into his heart. He had felt this warmth many times before. It made him feel over the moon. However, the temperature kept increasing until it was no longer the comforting touch he knew so well. The heat began searing his whole skin, diving beyond the parts of him that were submerged, until the water didn't even cool him anymore. It wasn't coming from her hands alone anymore. and it had gone way too far. Adder felt like he was holding a boiling pot instead of a gazelle. He tried to pull away, only for Sep to increase her grip on his shoulders.
Not yet. Just a little longer. Please.
Her fingers felt like red-hot irons over his skin. Adder lowered his head, unable to stand the glaring light beyond his eyelid. Sunrise, perhaps? No, that was impossible. The sea would have swallowed the beach whole. Deep down, he knew exactly what the source had to be, but he didn't want to see it. He knew that if he looked, he would never forget whatever he saw, that he would have to live with a new secret for the rest of his life, and he had too many of those already. And yet, he opened his eye, curious, scared, and disoriented, just a little, just a glimpse. Just enough to see the sea on fire. Dot, dot, dot. Okay. Wow. A sea on fire. We'll see that next time. And then we'll be done with with Sep's diary. Wow. I have loved reading through all these and seeing the memories and all the revelations that we've had. I mean, mostly about Sep, obviously, but about a few other characters as well. So, yeah, we'll see the final thing in the diary in the next episode, and then we'll move on. But for now, thank you so much for watching and spending a little of your time with me here today. It was lovely to have you. Please remember to be kind to yourself. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you again next time.